Welcome, boxing fans, to the Social Corner here on ProBox TV, your boxing channel, where you, the fans, make the show. Your comments are what drive the show. And don't forget to download the app and follow us on all our social media platforms at ProBox TV. Oh, what a great show we have for you. We have George Jackovic, we have Shawn Porter, Chris Algieri, and Paulie Malignaggi. It is going to be a fabulous show because of your comments. All right, George, let's hear what the people have to say about the sweet science.
Thank you, George. And the people have to say a lot, gentlemen. Welcome. First of all, I read almost all the comments for all the shows. A lot of great comments. Man, some people are mean. And I told you guys off camera, boy, Tim Bradley had a ProBox TV hat on one day. And one of the comments was, wow, ProBox found a hat big enough to fit Tim's head. So people are vicious. So I think we're going to get some of the nicer ones today. But listen, let's get right into it. This first one is pretty interesting. It's from Antonio at ProBox. Now, it's a question, but I think he needs advice from the champs. So I'm going to read it. He says, I'm an average size guy, 6 foot, 170 pounds, no fighting experience. How would you recommend handling a situation if a guy as big as Francis Ngannou disrespects my girl and she expects me to do something about it? What could I do to look good in front of her? And most importantly, survive? Shawn, do you have any advice for Antonio?
You grab your woman's hand, all right? You stand up, all right? Put your woman behind you, and you take steps back, all right? And you talk that shit as you make your way out the door, and you just keep talking that shit. And if he gets up and starts approaching, you just go a little bit faster. That's all you gotta do. Don't be trying to fight. Just step back. That's what you do against somebody like that.
That's solid advice. Chris, you're now remember, he's not a kickboxer, he's an average guy, no fighting skills. He's not you who can take someone out with a shin kick. So Chris, what about you, your advice?
Fake it till you make it, baby. Act like you know how to fight. Be confident, make yourself like it's like being in nature. You're in the jungle. What do you do in the bear? Make yourself big. Stand up tall, puff your chest out. Listen, man. And then I like Shawn's idea. Back up as you're talking. Get out of that. We don't need to come to fisticuffs, especially if you don't know how to fight. It's crazy. Men have a way of thinking that every guy thinks they can fight. It's not true. If you can't fight, if you know you can't fight, understand you can't fight. But confidence goes a long way, man. Most people don't want to fight anyway. So I was always good at talking people out of fights.
All right, well, Paul.
There's the right and the wrong way to do it, I guess. Since everybody's saying the right way, I'll tell you what the wrong way to do it is.
Yeah.
Oh God. This is advice, though.
The wrong way to do it. I mean, I'm just saying the wrong way that it might work is you pretend like you don't know that that's not your girl for a few seconds. Let them keep talking. Let them keep having it. Find a bottle. Find a full bottle in the club because you're in the club, and then blindside blast it right over his head. Split his whole wig right open. Split his whole wig open. Take your girl, walk out the club. Hope the bouncers don't throw you a beating, and that's it. I mean, that's the wrong way to do it. But that's probably your best chance of actually looking good in front of your girl, while at the same time, being able to get one over on the guy.
Paulie, have you done that? Have you been in this situation? Have you done that?
No.
Okay.
No, Paulie wouldn't be here right now. He'd be in jail. I love having Paulie on these shows because he says the things that I think, but my mental filter doesn't allow me to say, and he just lets it fly.
I'll tell you what. Okay, I'm gonna tell a quick story. All right, I got into a situation, not exactly like this, but similar in terms of the size of a guy outside of a club Club SL in New York City in the meatpacking district around 2006, 2007. And we were leaving the club, and it wasn't my girl or anything. We were leaving the club, and we were walking by, and everybody had drank except me. You know what I mean? Like we're just walking, and all my friends are kind of walking ahead of me. And we passed like on the street. We passed like this big guy. This big guy. He looked. I remember at the time describing him like the size of Jeremy Shockey, because Shockey was playing for the Giants at that time. Like about that size, big guy, And he had these two girls with him, and they were kind of like drunk, and they were kind of like very vocal, like just talk, but they were like with him, they were just talking and raising their hands in the air and whatnot. And I remember I had a group of people I was with. They passed by them. I was in the back because I was the only sober one, so I wanted to just make sure everybody was all right. We were walking back to the vehicles or whatever. We're gonna get a cab. Then there was another kid in front of us who also was so whacked. He was with us, I remember his name. His name was Vadim. He was a Russian kid, and he was like, and I remember as he walked by, the girl, like in her animated state, hit him on accident, like in her animated state, as he kept walking by. So I'm walking by, and as I'm looking, I'm like, damn, that girl's so rude. Like she just like she hit Vadim while she was talking, and then she didn't even say excuse me, I'm sorry. As I'm thinking this, I'm getting closer to walk by, and she hits me the same way. So now I'm like, yo, Karate Kid, watch yourself, man. You know what I mean? Like, and so the guy, he's yelled something back at me, and I'm still, like you guys say, keep walking and talk your shit, keep walking. So I'm walking and I'm talking my shit, like, yeah, all right, get out of here, whatever. And he goes, yeah, you're gonna say something to me or something like that. So we start talking shit back and forth. By this point, I'm like walking by the corner. He comes over with the two girls. Now the two girls is trying to hold him back. There's like a little bit of a people like gathering on the corner. But we're at a good distance. You can't hit me at least. So I'm talking shit. I'm at a good distance. So in the middle of I don't know what I was saying. In the middle of a sentence, while I'm saying, he charges at me. Now this is now the one thing you got to remember about a big guy, unless it's Francis Ngannou or those types, typically those guys don't get into a lot of fights because they're so big, people don't press them. And this night right here taught me this. This guy charges at me while I'm mid-sentence talking back and forth. He charged at me full speed, so he's going to close the gap. I kind of like go back, but in the moment, I'm just reacting. But in reality, like, what was I really going to do if he charged at me and tackled me, right? So I'm kind of going back, like I'm going to just try to time him with a shot as he walks in, right? Instead, he takes off, and he must have had a few drinks to even try this. He takes off and goes tries to go full Van Damme on me. Like he runs. And before he gets in punching distance, remember kicking distance is longer range. So I haven't let go of the right hand yet. I was just kind of step out. I was gonna try something. You know what I mean? He never even got that close because he took off with a leaping kick when he got halfway through. And of course, me being a boxer, you guys know I have my distances pretty measured. He basically commits fully. The kick misses me by this much. He goes full length, blasts his ass off the concrete. Like hard. Now, bro, as he's turning around,
That's embarrassing as hell.
as he's turning around, you roll over, you turn around, like you roll over, you get up, because unless you can do like the jump kick, you're gonna get up like a normal human being, which is you roll back around and you pick yourself up. As he rolls back around and pick himself up, Chris, Pete.
Yep.
Pete field goal kicks him right in the face. Knocks him out cold. Knocks him out cold. Bro, the guy was on the ground. I was like, bro, let's get out of here. Let's get out of here, bro. This guy's out cold. Vadim, of course, doesn't forget to go through his pockets, take his wallet and his phone. And so the guy got robbed, left unconscious in the middle.
Embarrassed, knocked out, and robbed.
But
Wow.
what I'm saying is typically a guy that big.
Guys, this all happened allegedly.
Yeah, and
Allegedly. And I hope Antonio's taking all this advice.
I don't behave like, and I didn't do anything, honestly. We didn't do anything. I mean, looking back, did I really do anything wrong? I didn't really do anything wrong. So I can tell the story.
Well,
Allegedly, he went through his pockets.
I think Antonio.
Allegedly,
Allegedly went through the pockets.
Antonio got a wide
knocked him out with a kick.
of advice from you guys. So Antonio, take that for what it is.
I don't behave like this anymore. And this was 17 years ago. And one last thing, a guy that big, a lot of times doesn't know how to fight. A lot of times. If you get one that knows how to fight like Francis Ngannou,
I got one last nugget. If you don't know how to fight, learn how to fight.
Yeah.
You're a grown man. Go to the gym. Go train a little bit. Learn how to fight.
All right, Antonio.
Bro, you had to see the step and kick. Pete took one step and kick, and Pete's a lefty. It was like a field goal kicker takes one step and boots. I mean, Pete took, the guy fell and Pete was over there, one step and just punted. And he was getting up. So the guy was on all fours. He was rolling around to get up, but his ass was kind of hurting. So he kind of rolled over slowly. So he rolled over slowly, get over, and then
Chris, you said you said learn to fight. You're a grown man. Like every man should know how to fight.
At least a little bit.
My boy off the podcast, Carson, he says if anything ever goes down, I'm just falling down.
Listen, that's advice too. But let's move on.
Especially if you're gonna go out with your girl. We're talking about how
Playing dead. It's
if you
animals in nature do that too. Play dead.
Yeah, but guys, we're talking about how you look good in front of your girl. Like how you gonna play dead and look good in front of your girl?
Well, Antonio,
it was a good. At that
one.
point, you find new girls.
But listen, I got another one from, and we talk about movies all the time. So Johnny Pro wants to know from all three of you guys, what are your top 2 movies of all time? Shawn.
All time. I mean, my personal favorite movie is Any Given Sunday. Jamie Foxx, Al Pacino.
Good movie.
I mean, just a array. LL Cool J, an array
Lawrence Taylor.
of talent on the screen. Like I really don't know, like, subject, it's just
Well, think
subjective.
about it, Chris, Paulie, top. It could be your favorite movie. It doesn't have to be two.
Any
What's
given
my favorite?
Sunday. Any Given Sunday was Kelly Kapowski's tits. So just in case. Because no, we saw that at Saved by the Bell. She has a topless scene in it.
Oh wow.
Kelly
Very true.
Kapowski.
Very true.
Why
For the people that know
trying to
that.
ruin my favorite
I'm sure
movie?
I'm sure that part's gonna get censored out. Okay, my top two movies are it's the one with Mel Gibson. Now I got you put me up with that Any Given Sunday. Braveheart and Raging Bull. Braveheart and Raging Bull. Those are my favorite.
Okay.
My two movies.
Yeah, as cliche as it is, Raging Bull is not my favorite boxing movie. It's my favorite movie of all time. I love that movie. The way it touches on what fighters go through in terms of the mental stuff. I love all of that, and just how serious De Niro took that scene. And then other than that, man, this is such a complicated question. There's so many great movies.
It is, because there's all different genres. I mean, it's hard to really come up with two of like your favorite all time.
So there's a movie that's near and dear to my heart for a reason, because it's a part of my life that I watch it over and over again. I was living in Las Vegas. I moved to Las Vegas to make my boxing career take off, and we had a TV and I had a mattress on the floor, and I used an upside down box with a sheet over it for an end table, and I was really really roughing it at this stage of my life. And we had a DVD, and I had two DVDs. I had Avatar and I had Casino. So that's the only thing I watched. This is before we were stealing Wi-Fi from the neighbors. I was really. Yeah,
Casino in Vegas.
They're two really long movies, which is good. So I would watch them over and over again for a training camp. So Casino for me is it's near and dear to my heart, and it's just an excellent movie. I can watch a movie from any point.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Shawn, did you come up with a number two?
No.
All right. Any Given Sunday. That's your top
right.
two movies. All right.
That's my top one. Yeah.
All right.
I just watched Burial the other day. The Burial. That's Jamie Foxx and Tommy Lee Jones. Really good movie.
Oh man, that's an
Lee's
old one.
badass.
That's a good one. I got a comment here, then I'm gonna get to another question, but Two-Tone Tyson 79 says, because we're always asking people to download the app. I'll download the app when Porter downloads it, and I need proof.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you're prepared to show proof, but that
wants receipts.
Oh man.
That was a literal.
I think I deleted it. That's the crazy part.
Okay,
I downloaded it. I didn't like
when
it.
you get to it,
but it's still
I
there.
didn't-
It's still
he said I didn't like
there.
it.
there you go. So now you have to download the app. All right, there's the proof.
Got another one.
This is not rehearsed. Shawn Porter had no idea this was coming.
No.
I got another one from Jesus Jimenez 5643. Paulie and crew, how hard has it been to transition from being an active boxer to retired life? Has it been how you expected it to be? Shawn, why don't you start this one off?
Yeah, that was Paulie and Chris.
Crew.
Crew.
Oh,
And that means you too, Shawn.
You're part of the crew, bro.
I'm literally doing everything I wanted to do in life at this point in my life. And I'll go a step further. We were just talking about films. I decided that I wanted to be in film right around 2005. And right as I was retiring from boxing, I had my last fight in November 2021. I was in Virginia, December 2021, shooting some scenes for a film that we're still trying to get funded right now. So
Nice.
you guys have seen everything I've been doing with the broadcasting and things like that. I am literally everything I said I would do in life, everything I said I want to do in life, right there where I want to be.
So your transition has been pretty easy then, Shawn,
It's
right?
been extremely easy. I'm spoiled by God. I am spoiled by God. That's for sure.
Okay, Chris, what about you?
I can kind of double that and say the same thing. It's been a lot easier than I expected. It's a constant thing. It never goes away. So, I could say like, oh, I'm doing really good right now, but let's check in 5 years and 10 years, because retirement is a lifelong thing from now on. This is the new reality. But no, I've been really busy and doing things that I love. And I always said boxing was going to be a vehicle for me to go on to do bigger and even better things. And it's just wild to actually look back on it now and see where I'm at. and what's going on. But no, I'm happy, man. I sleep great at night. I'm very satisfied.
First of all, I have no intention of ever coming back. But I think I saw a video recently about Thierry Henry talking about this. Thierry Henry is an ex former superstar soccer player, a footballer, and he's a Frenchman, and he basically talked about how a piece of you dies. And that's not necessarily mean doesn't necessarily mean we're mourning. Like I mean, for Henri, it kind of sounded like he's mourning it. Like he'll never play at a high level again. That piece of your life is over. The athlete dies. I think that's really the case for all of us. The athlete in us has to die. Because we'll never partake in something of a high level again. A big main event in Las Vegas, or just a big main event in general, world championship fights, big crowds, loud arenas. Will never partake personally as the center of attention in something like that ever again. So that person dies for real. I mean, the athlete dies. But now, some people mourn it more than others, yearn for it more than others. But I think that understanding that when, just like in life, when someone dies, you go through that phase of that part of mourning, and then you move on. You have to learn to move on. And some people get over it, and some people don't. Some people, lose someone close to you, and some people never get over it, and some people do. And I think that's sort of how the end of an athlete's career can sort of be looked at as, some people get over it more easily than others. But either way, that person dies. The athlete, Chris, the athlete, Paulie, the athlete, will never partake in something like that ever again. Nothing matches that. Nothing ever can come close to that, so that part of us is dead. But it doesn't mean that we're necessarily unhappy. As you can hear Chris and Shawn talk about it, they're doing a lot of things that they wanted to do before, and it's blessed. And I feel the same way. I feel like, that part of me is gone. If I could do it at the highest level, still, who knows, maybe I'd still want to do it, but I know my body can't do it anymore. So I have reservations about wanting to do it again. I have no cares in the world about wanting to do it again, because I also, there's a standard where, you got to get used to it. You get used to succeeding at world-class level, or being at world-class level. That the standard gets set. You kind of can't really look at yourself in the mirror if you're doing it and not being at that level. It's a sense of pride for you. So you have no move. I think if you reach that kind of reasoning, you have no problem with being retired. But it's those guys who, maybe some guys don't get over it. We've seen that in the past more as well, with certain fighters who weren't able to let it go, and for one reason or another. But I really believe that's the way you should look at it. When I heard Henri talk about it that way, the athlete dies. You still live on, but the athlete dies, because you'll never be at such a high level ever again and experience that on such a level ever again. Yeah, so it's just a matter of how do you deal with that.
Shawn's got something too.
Yeah,
I do too.
just some quick advice. It's called transferable skills. So I do understand that the athlete dies because you'll never be at that level again. But when you transition to something else, you use those transferable skills. Everything you used and learned from boxing, you just use that and transfer that to what you do and whatever else. And it doesn't have to be boxing, but that's essentially what I do now. I give you guys an example. I'm gonna always be an athlete. I'm gonna always be competitive. And so I got Antonio Tarver coming in this weekend. I'm doing some research. I looked at a interview that he did, and the competitor in me said, my interview is gonna be 10 times better than this. Like, I can't turn that off, and you can't turn off who you are. So what you do is you just transfer everything you are, everything you've done, you transfer it to whatever you decide to do after that.
You remain a competitor.
You remain a competitor, and the same
Yo,
thing with
when you let
acting.
that die, you die. That's a whole different thing.
My thing with acting is I've always looked, and I just continue to learn, and I keep challenging myself based on what I've seen other people do. And for me, it's not about replacing the paycheck. It's not about replacing how many people are watching me on screen. It's simply me competitively challenging myself to do things that I've seen other people do. So that's my advice, man. Just use those transferable skills. Whatever you've used it before, you're transferring to something else. Bring all that with you.
Chris, you
My
had
whole
something?
career on the way up, I always had a mindset, champion lifestyle. I didn't want to be a boxer. I wanted to be a champion. So if I couldn't see myself at the top of my division, I knew I was in the wrong place. And then if I said I couldn't see myself as being champion of the world, then I don't need to box anymore. And that was what that's why I knew I was done fighting. I remember I was fighting at 147 and I looked at the top of the weight class and I saw the guys. I'm like, yeah, I could beat a lot of these top 10 guys. I don't know if I can beat the champions at this weight class. So that's why I moved back down to 140 late in my career. I was 36 years old, moving back down in a weight class, which you don't often see. I saw myself being a world champion at 140. I saw those guys down there. I was like, I can beat these guys. I just need the shot. The shot didn't come. COVID got in the way. Injuries happened. And then, that is what it is. And I saw myself now. I'm like, I don't see myself making 140 and being a world champion. I don't see myself being a champion 147. I don't need to be here. I came into the sport to be a champion and nothing less. So
Chris,
once, like you said, like you both said, once you hit that level,
and
can't
Chris,
look back.
for context, for people that don't know, Chris was supposed to get the Maurice Hooker fight.
Yes.
So that was basically on its way to being made, and for the WBO welterweight title.
Man,
Man,
that was.
Go
I
ahead, Chris.
had a title eliminator that I scored a knockout in, got that Maurice Hooker fight. He ended up fighting Ramirez. He loses. Ramirez breaks his hand. It gets pushed back. Then COVID. It just a train of events never allowed me to get that second chance.
Yeah, because the sanctioning bodies will sometimes push aside the mandatory in favor of a unification, right? And that's what ended up happening there. And then COVID happened, or something like that, right?
You guys are
Exactly.
You guys are bearing your soul. And that's what this should be called, bearing your soul, because you guys are getting down in depth. We're gonna go to the studio.
I'll tell you what.
Deep question.
I'll go one more. Chris made me think of something. When I lost my last career fight to Sam Eggington, I was called up by Jeff Horn's people. My team was called up by Horn's people. The guy had just beat Pacquiao because he beat Pacquiao in the summer, and they wanted me to fight Horn, but the WBO wouldn't allow me to fight for the title coming off a loss. So they were saying, we'll bring you to Australia. We'll put you on a card. It was, I remember I retired in March. The summer Pacquiao lost to Horn. And then they wanted me to get down in October to fight on an undercard, like an 8-rounder to get a win, and then come back in December to fight Horn again. So I would have had to take 2 flights to Australia in the matter of 3 months, plus train, plus make weight. I was like, I can't do it, man. I was like, I can't do it. But if I didn't have to get that one in between, I might have come back for the Horn fight. I probably wouldn't have won it, but it would have world title fight. I would have come back. Say because it goes along the lines with Chris is saying. With having the chance for that big glory, that big moment. But I didn't have it in me to want to go through the 8-rounder first to get a W, man, and go all the way across the world for small money just to get the quick win first.
That's the thing that people don't realize. It takes so much to get to a fight. And I think
Chris, you were with me my last camp making weight.
So let's listen. We're gonna go back to George. He's got some questions too, because I haven't made a million of them. But Antonio, just back to you real quick. Take that advice. Learn how to fight, but learn how to back up quick. So George, what do you got? What do you got for the champs?
I was waiting for one of y'all to say to Antonio's advice, kick him in the nuts and run. Because I was.
We're not dirty. We're not dirty fighters.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we'll hit you with bottles. We'll hit you with bottles. We'll hit you with a bottle. We're not going to kick you in the nuts.
If it's Prince Ngannou's height, we're the same height as his nuts. You got to be able to kick him out.
You can hit that like a speed bag.
Yeah. That's like what Paulie said reminds me of something Cat Williams said about meeting Shaq and his nuts up here. But I digress. I digress. All right, let's get to some of these comments here. Eden says, Shawn Porter looks like Ben Wallace on that old 2K cover.
Love it. Yeah. With the hair out.
With the hair out, yeah. And then meaning SC.1600 said, wonder how Paulie, Shawn, or even Chris would be as a boxing coach. You guys have so much knowledge. I think y'all would be really, really good. Would be excellent boxing coaches. And then also,
I coach my nephew, actually. I'm working his corner next weekend.
And
nice.
Bnigma28 has a question for you guys. First, he says, ProBox TV is great for boxing. George, please get the chance to spar over this. A prime 1966 Ali versus a prime 1988 Tyson. Thank you. Keep up the great work, gents. All right. So I guess there's the question for you guys. Who would win?
Go to Paulie first. He's Brooklyn. He's Tyson. So Paulie, what about that one?
He wants you to do it on sparring session.
Yeah, that's a good topic for sparring sessions.
Yeah. All right. Well, then we'll go to Shawn. Shawn, you're not on sparring session, so
I'll be on the next sparring session.
66 Ali, 88 Mike Tyson.
I really find it hard to bet against Ali, especially in his prime.
Mm-hmm.
The right size, the right speed, the right reflexes, the whole nine. Tyson was vicious. Red, he saw red when the bell rang, but I still don't think that's enough. I think you guys all know that the boxer that can spin and turn uses speed, knows his distance and range. And, you know, when you're somebody like Mike, who's used to getting your way, we saw Mike fold every time he didn't get his way. We just would have saw that much sooner in his career had that been a fight against Ali, you know, back then in '88.
All right, we're not
Yeah.
going to use this for sparring sessions now, but yeah, I agree, Sean. I think the mental
Hard
aspect
to go
of it
against
is,
that
is-
Ali.
nah. Cause Tyson has one way to win in that fight.
Yeah.
Ali has a plethora of options to win
Yeah.
that fight, and I think he wins it at the press conference. To tell you the truth, with
Yeah.
his talk game and Mike crumbling mentally as that fight approached, nah, that's Ali all day.
All right, guys. Well, we got the call. We got to wrap this up. I just have a couple of comments, and we're going to throw it back to George. Juan Alvarez says, "Love this show, man. Shout out to all you guys. George is really funny too. I don't know how that one got in there, but OG Rex says subscribed and downloaded the app not because you guys said to, but because the content and discussions are worth it. Awesome work, Paulie, Chris, Tim, and Shawn. All true, honest fighters of the game that keep the sport together when yous were together, like when yous were active." So there you go. People seem to really love you guys, even though people make fun of Tim's big head, like we started the show. They were surprised that we had a hat big enough
Tim
for his
makes fun of
head.
his own big head, so
Yeah, he does. He does. So we're allowed to too. So that's Social Corner, and we have a lot more. So remember, download the app. Keep those comments coming in. We'll make shows about it. George will send it to you.
It's because Tim Bradley has a big brain. That means he's very smart, very intelligent.
There you
That's
go.
why he needs that headspace there.
Sean says no, but there you go.
Oh, okay. That
He almost
And
faded
Chris,
on that.
and Chris dips out.
Almost faded on that, Chris.
almost. Great stuff from the guys here on Social Corner. And don't forget, download the app on where apps are available, the Apple App Store and Google Play Store as well. It's free, and you get the best content from the world of boxing on the ProBox TV app. Download the app and follow us on all our social media platforms. Like and subscribe as well. All right, we're going to do it again next week here. Social Corner, only on ProBox TV, your boxing channel.